But if you don't do any of those things, I guarantee you, your book is not going to sell. That sounds harsh, but that's the truth. So stop being married to the project. Matter of fact, divorce yourself from the feelings of your project. It's a business transaction. And I know that's hard because you're so emotionally invested. But at the end of the day, it's a business transaction. I'm creating a product that my consumer is familiar with and where I'm going to stand apart from the other products in my doggone genre, in my field, is the story itself. Yep. The story itself is what's going to separate you, not your cover, not the title of your book, and not the blurb of your book.
NL Publishing Service Academy proudly presents Listen Up, I Got a Story to Tell podcast with literary success consultant DK Walker, sharing with you writing tips, marketing ideas, publishing information, and inspiring interviews for your author journey. So, without further ado, let's get right into it with DK Walker.
I'm DK Walker. I want to thank you for joining me on Listen Up, I Got a Story to Tell podcast. Look, you could have been anywhere in the world today, but just choosing to spend time with your boy. And for that, I am deeply grateful to you. I really appreciate you. Recently, I did a podcast episode interviewing super successful hybrid author Angela Henry, and she spoke about the second thing why self-published authors is not selling as many books as they should, right? We know what the first thing is. The first thing is not properly identifying your target market. Failure to do so, you will not sell no books. If you don't know who you're writing your books for, if you don't know who you're selling your books to, rest assured, you're going to hate marketing. But if you was to take the time out to identify who you're writing your books for, who you're selling your books to, that's the hardest hurdle. Now, before I get off my soapbox and before I get on the tangent, self-published authors, you got to stop running away from marketing. You got to identify who you're writing your books for, right? Do yourself a favor. As much as you love writing, as much as you love the process of writing, as much as you have romanticized the highs and lows and the ups and downs of writing, take time out and push back. If you're struggling with book sales, do yourself a favor. Take time out to push back from writing and learn marketing. Like, just learn marketing somewhere. They have so many paid courses, free courses. YouTube University is free. So many things that you can do to actually learn marketing. If you know that you're not selling no books, don't be like, I don't know how to sell. Don't be like, it's frustrating. Don't be like giving up. Don't be committed to writing, but not committed to selling. Unless your heart is in just to writing and not to sell your books, then cool, by all means, keep writing, expecting nothing in return. But for my self-published authors that want something in return for their hard work, make more time for marketing and less time for writing. And once you master marketing, once you get good at it, and once you see your sales start to climb on an upward tick, now you can pull all that pent-up energy, that pent-up creativity back into your writing, because now you have solved your biggest problem, which is marketing.
Learn how to write faster, conquer writer's block, and tell a story your readers will love. In less than 1 month, writing only 3 pages daily, you can go from book idea to manuscript using the unfair writing advantage. Most authors take 8 months on average to write just 1 book. But in a fraction of that time, you will learn how to craft a book your readers will love and not be hunched over your laptop days on end to do so. Just go to www.theunfairwritingadvantage.com to see what has the self-publishing industry buzzing. Now back to the podcast.
Now, we know, like I said earlier, the number one problem with self-published authors is selling books is not knowing their target market. Not a problem. The second biggest problem when it comes to selling books for self-published authors is something I discovered while listening to a guest of mine that was on a recent episode of Listen Up, I Got a Story to Tell podcast, hybrid author Angela Henry. Like, she went on, gave great advice. I closed that show and I was like, what's the bit of advice that you would give self-published authors today to get over the hump? Now, I don't want to misquote her. I don't really want to paraphrase her. I'm going to stop here and I'm actually going to play that clip for you. And I want you to hear her words out of her mouth. And then we're going to come back to me and we're going to unpack that.
Just learn the industry learn, the business. When I first started out, when I was talking about that being published by that Vanity Press one, I look back on that book and I still cringe, but it was a learning experience. And the reason why is the book was called, my first book, The Company You Keep, was originally called The Pleasure of His Company. And it had if you would have looked at that book and not known what it was about, you would have thought it was a romance because
Okay.
the cover was not on trend to what was selling in that genre. Currently, the title wasn't, anyone would have thought it was a romance, but I didn't know that because I didn't have the experience to know that. Look at what's selling. Look at the Amazon bestsellers. Look at the covers
On it.
because
Speak on it.
they tend to have the same types of covers,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
same types of titles.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
kind of have to take yourself and what you want out of the equation and look at what's selling.
She reading my mind.
I picked the cover that was on that Vanity Press book because I thought it was pretty, and it didn't have anything to do with the genre that I was writing in. You have to study that. You have to see what's selling, what's on trend. And I'm not saying don't write the book of your heart. Absolutely do that. But when you're going to market it, you have to position it to be competitive with what's already selling. And I stay on that Amazon bestseller list looking to see the books that are in the top 100, how they're being positioned. Go on TikTok. Look at some of the big authors on TikTok and the kind of content that they're creating. I'm not saying copy people,
No,
but
no, no, no.
look
You're
and
not.
see. Just kind of sit back and look and see what other people are doing and how they're growing, and then just apply it to your situation.
That is the best advice you can give self-publishing authors and authors in general. Go study success. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the podcast. Now, look, she said a mouthful. And like I said, I'm going to try my best not to be long-winded today. Y'all know I'm going to get on my tangents, whatever the case may be. But in a nutshell, the second most important reason why self-published authors are not selling their books today is they have failed to make their books marketable. And I get it, right? I get it. You want your books to be unique. You want your books to stand out. You want a person to see your books and immediately fall in love, but it doesn't work that way. Your books has to look like the rest of the books that's already in your genre, in your market. I know. I understand that. It's hard because you're married to that. You're married to the book, and you want your book to be this beacon of light that's going to outshine all of the books in your genre just by sight alone. It doesn't work that way. Your readers, which is buyers, they're trained to look for a certain specific book in that genre. And if your book doesn't look, we're talking about covers now, if your book doesn't look like that, they're going to look over it. If they read the title of your book, and if your title of your book doesn't sound like the rest of the titles that's in your genre, guess what? Your book is not getting picked up. By happen chance, if they flip your book over and was to read the blurb, and your blurb did not read similar to the rest of the books in your genre, your book, pardon me, is not being brought. And I know you're like, I don't want to steal anybody else's cover. I don't want to steal anybody's title. I don't want to steal anybody else's blurb. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is study, right? And you use the successful covers, titles, and blurbs as templates for your own work. And you may be asking yourself, I want to be unique. I want to be an individual. I want to stand out. You stand out by your story, not the cover, not the title, and not the blurb. Those three things is to actually get the reader to buy. But the title, cover, and blurb has to be somewhat uniform with what's currently in the market. And unless you've then built up a tribe, if you got 5, 10,000 readers, then you can have whatever book cover that you want, right? If you have 5 to 10,000 diehard readers, and no matter what you put out, they're going to buy. Guess what? Now you get to dictate what goes into the market because you have a loyal fan base. But until you have that loyal fan base, you have to play the game that's already in process.
Writing your manuscript has been hard enough, so let NL Publishing Service Academy make self-publishing your book easy as possible. From beautifully designed full and ebook covers to uniquely done typesetting and formatting, our goal is to professionally enhance your manuscripts and book covers to give your readers the best reading experience possible. Need marketing tips, tactics, and strategies? We can help you with that. How about branding and broadening the reach of your author platform? Yep, we can help you with that too. So no matter what your self-publishing needs are, NL Publishing Service Academy has you covered. Just head over to www.nlpublishingservices.com for whatever your self-publishing needs are. And now back to the podcast.
And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, right? I know it is, but you have to divorce yourself from being married to your project in order for you and that project to reach a happy ever after. Because if you're dead set on your book looking how you want it to look, if you're dead set for your blurb to reading how you want it to sound, if you're dead set for your title to come off as you intended it and not in the market, man, I guarantee your book will collect dust like the millions and millions of others. And so do yourself a huge favor. Don't waste creativity on being original. Do not waste creativity on being original, right? Do a little bit of research, head over to Amazon, find out what are the top selling books in your genre. What do they have in common cover-wise? What do they have in common title-wise? What do they have in common blurb-wise? You pick and choose from that. You piece your book together, and what happens when a reader comes across your book, it's going to look familiar to them. And that's all that you want. And I know that's a bitter pill to swallow because authors, we believe that we're so unique. We're not. I hate to tell you that. I hate to bust your bubble, but there's no new stories under the sun. Only thing new about a story is the way it's been written. That's it. And that's where you self-published authors get to shine at, the way that your book is written. So if you really want to sell your books, if you really want to sell your books, go do your research. Does my book cover looks like the #1 selling book cover in my genre? Does my title to my book sound similar to the #1 book, #2 book, #3 book in my genre? Does my blurb capture the same feeling of the top 3, 4 to 5 books in my genre? You got to answer yes to all those questions before you even think about, okay, cool, I have that basis covered. And I know once a person comes across my book, I have given myself a better shot in selling my book. But if you don't do any of those things, I guarantee you, your book is not going to sell. That sounds harsh, but that's the truth. So stop being married to the project. Matter of fact, divorce yourself from the feelings of your project. It's a business transaction. And I know that's hard because you're so emotionally invested, but at the end of the day, it's a business transaction. I'm creating a product that my consumer is familiar with and where I'm going to stand apart from the other products in my doggone genre, in my field, is the story itself. Yep. The story itself is what's going to separate you, not your cover, not the title of your book, and not the blurb of your book. The story itself. They don't review your title. They don't review your cover. They don't review your blurb. They review the actual story. Those 3 things I just doggone listed is what gets your book brought. You know what I mean? It's not what makes a reader love your book. It has to be familiar. So look, I can go on and on and on and on and on about the things that you need to do, but I just want to give you something actionable, something that you can do right now to make a difference in your author journey. I'm DK Walker. I appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with your boy. Do me a huge favor. If you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, leave your boy a review. Reviews cost you nothing, but they mean the world to me. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, like, share, and comment, and follow me. Subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate that as well. Until next week, my good people, peace.
This episode of Listen Up, I Got a Story to Tell podcast has ended. But please be sure to subscribe for more literary strategies and tactics to help you create the profitable, successful author career you've always wanted. And don't forget to rate and leave a review so we can continue to bring you the best author and book-related content. See you on the next episode.